you can open this door at least.
Alright.
Alright, let's head up the steps, I guess. Wait a minute. I wonder if I need to have a torch, you know? I can't get one. Alright, I'm not gonna worry about it. Let's just go. Let's focus on getting through here. Oh, great. Starting to darken up. Oh, wow, the whole area is. What's up here, though? A story stone.
Says God will do battle at Ragnarok. Odin will fight the monstrous wolf and be killed, but his son will avenge him and plunge his sword into the heart of the beast. Freyr will face Surtur, but he had given his sword away for now. But he can't defend himself against the flames. Thor will smite the Midgard serpent to no avail. The sun will grow black. The earth will sink into the sea. The stars will disappear. Fire and water will meet. Steam will shoot up. Flames will play against the sky. The heavens and earth and all the world will be burned. All the gods will be dead. And the warriors of Valhalla and the people everywhere.
What the fuck?
Prepare yourself for Ragnarok. For it is nigh.
Really? I'm gonna get ready to fight. This is one of those stupid rooms. Damn, get up, woman. One freaking hit. Well, that isn't a two-handed axe, though. Oh, come on. There's another one? Oh, bullshit. Get up. Jesus H, man. Another one, really? Oh my god, two dudes now. Oh shit, I forget I can't hit him. Wow, that wasn't too hard. Not bad. At least one of those super powerful dudes didn't show up. Oh yeah, this is where I can line up the bridge, right? Yeah, there we go. Alright, nice. Now I should be able to get through there, assuming I don't have to fight 4 billion dudes on my way back. It's the last thing I want to have to put up with right now. Let's just move the story along already. I think this has gone on long enough. Lord Jesus. I don't know. I mean, I enjoy the game, but for the most part, the combat is plagued with so many problems, mainly inconsistency. It's hard for me to really appreciate the overall package. It's really hindered by the bad gameplay or the bad combat controls. It shouldn't be this bad, but it is. I mean, seriously. Alright. Here we go. Time to cross the bridge. After all of that, let's actually cross the bridge now. Oh, really? Come on. Yes. Oh, yeah. This dude, Jack. Oh, my goodness. Come on. Get up, woman. Get up. She's hurt. How is that any different than earlier in the game? Why in the heck is she moving so slow? Moving like, oh God, like a fucking 90-year-old woman. No, I'm sure a 90-year-old woman would be more mobile than this bitch right now. Oh. Oh my God. Come on, die already. I desperately need to get rid of this idiot before I... Well, now it's too late. Now I gotta deal with 3 idiots at the same fucking time. And then, of course, he charges right into me. Get up already. Jesus Christ. Oh, Lord, dude. How many freaking guys are going to show up here?
It's nearly over.
Yeah, right. Oh. Right. Good. He fell off the fucking bridge. Hell yeah.
Do that some other now.
I wish I could, but this guy's a lot more stout than the other one was. Oh. See, here's the problem. You can't really move around. I don't know. What happened to the other guy? There's 3 people up here now. There we go. What? Why are you focused on these idiots that are 15 miles away from you? Wow. And then another guy immediately spawns in place of the one that I just killed. And they say that it's almost over. Really. The game's literally trolling me. Come on. Ugh. Look at that. No, nothing I can do to dodge that. Can I? No, I can't focus either. Focus is out. Because it doesn't fucking recharge like you would expect it to. Oh my God. Is that it? Is she dead? No? I can get up? If she fucking move. Come on, dude. So much effort, man. I'm sorry. Alright. Oh my God, another one. Another fucking guy. A better fighter, huh? Wow, yeah, somewhat. Not really. Actually, he was just as bad as some of the beginning foes that you face in the game. So much for the so-called better fighter. Alright, please let this be it. Please let this be it. Please let this be it.
Wait.
You're not supposed to want the game to be over.
Wait a minute, what is this?
We die too.
I have a feeling I'm going to end up fighting like 14,000 people before I get to the edge of this hallway.
Even the gods will die.
We don't want to die. I don't want to die. Senua, stop. Turn back. Stop.
Shut up.
Stop. Senua,
I can't
stop.
run.
Stop. Happens to us. Stop. She's going to die. She will. Stop.
I have no choice. I have to move forward.
I don't want to die.
I'm sorry. I didn't ask you to be a part of me. If you don't want to die with me, then leave me alone.
So what the hell is this?
To die, please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. You'll never come back if you go there.
There is nothing to go back to.
We only have each other now. Don't abandon me.
Everyone suffers. They were right about me.
Listen to me, not them.
Whoa.
They were afraid. Like children scared of the dark.
So was I.
They made up monsters to fill the void. That doesn't make them real.
They made them real.
Whoa. She just walked through there. That's it.
Follow your soul and let go of the Senua of old. For there lies your weakness, and the darkness will find it.
Oh, man. Now I can run. Because I no longer give a fuck.
It's not like the old stories.
I wish I understood what happened there.
The noble warrior facing evil in search of victory and honor. Clear dividing lines. No. Oh, this place is not quite like that. It's as if it knows that true torment lies within. Memories you cannot defeat. Cannot escape.
Oh, boy.
This is her hell.
Now what?
You're saying hill, basically, right?
Yes. Wow, dude, look at this shit. Who is that? Is that her mom?
Don't be like this. Turn away, Senua. Turn away, Senua!
You see it, Senua? You see the darkness, faces fear and suffering. You can see it.
Holy shit. So that's it?
I remember it clearly now.
She has nothing to fear anymore. The gods have saved your mother. Through my hand.
You killed him.
It is the will of the gods.
Fuck the gods! You did this to her! Why?
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the underworld. They crawl into your soul and rot you from the inside. Defy the gods like your mother, and the darkness will come for you too. You understand, son?
Wow, this is some pretty crazy shit.
I do understand. You cursed me with your own madness. I was just a child. You created this darkness! You created this darkness so you could hide behind it!
Only suffering and salvation. It is the way of the gods.
It was all a lie.
Oh.
You are a lie! She didn't defy the gods. she to fight you. And so you killed her.
You didn't pray to the gods. You prayed to your mother. Your mother, who was too weak to fight the darkness and abandoned you.
You tortured her. You killed her.
Those rituals, the years of isolation, the pain that still haunts you. It was the only way to fight the curse within you.
Oh, man.
The darkness is inside you and it will destroy you.
You're a liar!
No, Senua. The darkness is here. You cannot wish it away. And it will watch as you draw the last dying gasp.
Man, holy shit, dude.
I won't let you kill me.
So stupid. Look at all the enemies I have to deal with. You can't dodge all that. Look, there's a dude behind me. I can't freaking dodge him because I can't see what the hell he's doing. All I can do is try to distance myself from everybody. Oh my god. I try to dodge one dude. Oh my lord, dude, come on. What the hell was that? I staggered for no reason. Well, couldn't do anything about that.
Behind you.
Oh lord, behind you, like there's anything I can do about it.
Behind you.
It's pretty sad,
What is?
that fight.
It really is, dude, because they're acting like this is the most groundbreaking and most amazingly put together combat system ever. This is by far one of the worst combat engines I've ever experienced in my life. I'm sorry, it's clunky, it's very, very stiff feeling. It's like you need fluid combat to deal with stuff like this, but they don't fucking allow that kind of combat at all.
Watch out.
Die, come on. Really? Dude, how many dudes are gonna show up? Is this... I keep on saying it. Is that really necessary? Look at this.
Watch out.
Oh my goodness, man. Behind you. As the axe enters her back, they say behind you. There's no end to this shit, man. I like how they said earlier, it's almost over, it's almost over. No, you mean it was just beginning. I mean, my freaking thumb is actually getting tired of this smashing the shit out of the X and the square button repeatedly. Oh my lord, another one.
through your darkness. You're a liar and a murderer. And if you really are Hela, then I have a sword here that can kill a god.
What?
Look at you. Run forward, moving backwards to wallow your miserable past. You're making a mistake searching for Gideon. The same mistake that killed him in the first place.
Yep, time to do it again.
Try yourself. The serpent that is a lie. The plague of darkness. The butchering of the by the Northmen. You saw it yourself.
You told everyone I was cursed. They believed you. I believed you.
Tell me, Senua, where is Gideon's soul if the darkness is a lie? How you saved him?
He's here. I know he's here. Dillian, I know you're here. Hold on. I'll find you.
Who the fuck is that?
Don't know. Oh, no. I hit dodge. Oh. Whoa, what the hell? Oh my goodness, really? What? Oh my god, twice in a row. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Y'all need to be quiet and turn all this shit down.
Okay.
Make sure doors and watch. You want to hear outside there's something going on. I'm just saying that.
Alright.
Somebody come up here and blow y'all goddamn head off. Y'all gonna sit up and be looking stupid.
No.
I'm serious. Nashville is growing and it's all kind of fuckers around here now. Y'all need to hear from the dog barking.
Alright, no, I get it.
I ain't to be quiet for my head.
Great. Come down here right during the loudest part. Dude, I can't. Again, fight some of the toughest enemies in the game. 2-on-1. Dodge, what the fuck, dude?
Behind you.
Poetry. Give me a break. I hate this game.
Is there else to do?
No. Really.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It's insanely stupid, dude, how difficult this fucking game is. And I can't use focus anymore either. For whatever reason. I've been fighting like crazy. Fighting like a tiger out here. For whatever reason, focus never regenerates also. Why does this kind of go on, dude? Jay, does this not seem kind of stupid to you? Come on, dude. Let's end this shit already, man. Wow. It just never ends, dude. They keep saying it's nearly over. It's nearly over. No, it's not. My patience is nearly over. I'm tired of fighting these repetitive-ass enemies with this bullshit combat. Oh my god. Good grief, man. One enemy hits, I dodge, the next one.
Why do you get hit so much?
Say what?
You get hit a lot.
Jay, there's nothing I can do about it. Look, I dodged the clean the fuck out of
Well, what
his
did they
way.
expect you to do? Like, what do they do?
I don't know.
Block or dodge?
I don't know. There is no block. You either dodge or you get hit, period. In some cases, you dodge and still get hit. See, why the hell did she focus on him? I don't even know. Wow, oh wait, I can actually focus now? Jesus H, thank you. Get him fucking out of the way.
Daniel! Where is he? You're trying to trick me again with your lies. I know he's here. You took him from me. You have him.
Dillian's gone. Dillian is dead. Let him go now. I'm warning you.
Or what? What can you do to me that you haven't already? Fight me. Come on.
You betrayed your own father. You betrayed the gods in search of Dillian. In search of love. Look where that's got you.
This is stupid as hell, dude. This game is so fucking retarded.
I mean, she basically has become Nariko now.
Yes, this is like...
Darkness hurt anyone else.
But in a more realistic sense, that's like it's possible.
Oh my god. I don't want to fucking play this anymore. I really don't. I'm sick of this. I just... losing my patience. I'm really getting irritated with the repetitive nature of this fucking combat. They act like this is the best thing ever because they have the final sequence of the game is far beyond ever experienced in this game.
Y'all, I'm gonna take a nap. Check on me in about 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to bed. My hands are getting cold and everything.
Alright.
Alright.
So this is how the game is supposed to end, or what? I don't know if there's anybody who actually could stand up to that massive onslaught of enemies at the end. So I guess this is truly how it ends. I'm sure there's two different endings. Somebody's really masochistic enough to push themselves to the limit and master the controls and the combat. They beat everybody and then they get a slightly different ending.
Huh?
We ain't got no more toilet paper.
Okay.
We're out, so I suggest you watch how much you use.
Alright.
So this is it, huh?
You're alive. And there's no... And you never took it.
Well, I mean, judging by the fact that...
After all you've done to me? And to him? You're a liar!
Huh.
You called him to me to confuse me and deceive me. I know you have him.
But don't you have his head in your hand right now?
So she just carries it with her?
Yeah. Well,
That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be your slave for it. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok.
so that's her sacrifice, yeah. I had a feeling it would ultimately end up like this. That's why it's called Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. Wow, this is some crazy shit. Holy shit.
I don't know what made to not be afraid of death, he said. There's a life without loss. There's one without love. Turns back on death. All you can see is the shadow of your casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is dark. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of fear and emerge from our darkness.
So that's it, huh? guessing that's his skull right there.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child sing. Every autumn leaf is like a welcome mat. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea. Do not mourn the waves, the leaves, the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen. This is where my story once began. So does the end here. Because I cannot see further than this. Follow us. We have another story to tell. My friend, go with them. This now will be your story to witness.
What happened to the guy right there?
Now, it looks like that was where Senua was laying, and then...
Yeah, it really was.
Was that her spirit that you saw?
I don't know. I don't think so. That was just really weird. Man, I gotta let that sink in for a second. Holy shit, man. That was just some crazy shit.
Do you think this is thought out enough?
Hold on. Just say that. I'm gonna be up here in a second. Holy shit. Well, holy shit, what can I say about this game? Well, I'm sure there are plenty of reviews and whatnot online on YouTube that discuss this game at length. I'm just going to give you kind of my candid opinion on the game. I think it's good. I think it's definitely worth playing for $40. If you really just focus on what you're getting, some people say that this game is short. I don't really buy that. For a first playthrough, this was easily an 8+ hour playthrough for me. And for $40, I'm not really expecting anything more or less from the game. And the fact that this game did come from a indie development team, I can honestly say I'm thoroughly impressed with it. And yeah, I did talk shit about the game before, but that's just because in the heat of the moment, you tend to get so impatient and irritated with the game and what's going on. You tend to say a lot of silly shit, but I mean, to be perfectly honest, I can tell you right now, the game is really, really well done. You can see the creative direction that they really wanted to go with this game, and for the most part, I think they did a pretty good job with it. It's a game that you kind of need to go into with the expectation that you're going to get frustrated with the combat, and you will feel lost a few times during the puzzles, but if you really just kind of you adapt to it and you get pretty good with the game over time. I mean, the same can be said about any game, but that's not to say that there aren't any problems. There are legitimate issues with this game, but before I even really talk about the issues, I definitely want to talk about the pros. The story is very original. It's different. It's way out of the ordinary when it comes to narrative and things like that. This game is almost untouchable when it comes to the overall lore and, you know, the craziness of the story and how it develops. They did a really good job with the pacing of the storytelling as well as with the puzzle and combat sequences. Even though I do have a gripe with the combat and puzzle sequences in this game, like I said, before I get into the things I don't like about the game, I really do want to say what I do like about it. Of course, the graphics are fantastic. They're phenomenal. They've got options in this game as well. For PlayStation 4 Pro users, you have the option of switching it to 60 frame per second mode, which will lower the resolution. It's actually noticeable. You're gonna suffer a pretty big hit in terms of visual fidelity. We're talking about probably going from like 1440p to like maybe 900p. It's definitely not full HD when you switch it to 60 frames per second mode. So that's really how you can tell, you know, the limitations of the console hardware itself. If you want to be technical, yes, the game can run at 60 frames per second, but it will take a decent hit when it comes to the visual presentation. Now, the 30 frames per second mode, or not really 30 frames mode, but it's really like the high graphics setting mode, it bumps up the resolution significantly, and you know, obviously it clarifies all of the assets within the games. We're talking about texture filtering, we're talking about shadow resolution. It gets a nice little bump as well. Everything looks a little bit more crisp, we'll put it that way, and you can definitely see a difference, especially if you're playing the game on a 4K TV, especially one that's a big screen like mine. The gameplay, you know, let's talk about the gameplay elements. Well, they have it's not open world exploration by any means. It is, for the most part, a linear experience. You're pretty much just gonna go through the motions of the game, and the game will, the plot will develop along the way. And for the most part, you're just walking around, taking in the sights, observing your surroundings, and then obviously searching for, you know, answers to the puzzles. The puzzles are pretty simple. You get to a door, the door is sealed shut with runes. In order for you to unlock the door, you have to look at the runes that are on the door, and then you have to check your surrounding areas to find that rune, whether it's in a rock formation or a shadow formation, or whether it's in some, you know, pieces of wood that build a structure, but you can see the design of the rune within that structure. That's basically how you progress through the game and make it through the various levels. There are a lot of different variations of that formula as well. Instead of you just finding it, let's say, in a wood or rock formation, obviously you have to light, let's say you have to light up some torches, and it'll cast a shadow up on the wall or something like that. That's how you would find the image, you know. So it's kind of cool that they mix it up like that. It feels varied. It doesn't necessarily feel super repetitive. Now, the combat, now this is where we start to get into the negatives. Combat, on the other hand, can feel a little, or not convoluted, but can feel really, for the most part, it can just feel really clunky and just not very well done. To be perfectly honest, I think for the most part, through the first half, or at least first 2/3 of the game, that's a significant bit, through the first 2/3 of the game, the combat and the puzzle sequences are kind of spaced apart and completely separate. So let's say you'll unlock a door, you'll go through that door, and then there's just, it's a predetermined combat sequence that takes place with you know, a number of enemies, or maybe one big enemy, and that's basically it. And then you move on, you'll walk down a path, you'll look around and stuff, and then you'll stumble into the next puzzle sequence, which will then lead into the next combat situation. So it seems like it's really cut and dry. It's really easy to tell what's going on. It doesn't feel very engaging when they have the combat and the puzzling kind of separated like that. It's not until later on in the game where you make progress, and then all of a sudden, whoa, man, now all of a sudden you stumble into a situation where the guys come after you, and it feels like a really organic kind of experience rather than something that's predetermined and just set up to happen, you know. The game's definitely got a spook factor. And to get back into positives again, it's got a spook factor. The atmosphere is really, really well done. The audio is absolutely amazing. If you got a good sound system like surround sound, or if you got a good set of headphones, I definitely recommend cranking up the sound, because you will be blown away by the voices. The voice acting is really, really well done in this game. You can tell a lot of care and attention went into various aspects of the game, but it feels to me like they fell short in some of the key areas, mainly that with combat. The puzzling is pretty good, it's fun, it's mentally engaging. You gotta really look around, and you know, you may stumble into the answer to the puzzle, or you may, you know, just put 2 and 2 together and just figure it out. That's probably one of the most rewarding parts of the game, is the puzzling. However, the combat, like I said, is the only part I didn't really care too much for. The combat boils down to mashing the shit out of the square button to launch your attacks. The square button is going to be your light attack. Your triangle button will be your heavy attack. It obviously does more damage and hits harder, but at the same time, it's going to be slower. Your heavy attacks are going to be slower, so your enemy may be able to dodge or move around it. Your circle button will be a kick. The kick will act as a stun. It causes your enemies to stagger. Sadly, I did not utilize that feature in the game very much until the later half of the game. And, you know, of course, by then you may be thinking, well, hell, that would have dulled most of your complaints in terms of, you know, how frustrating the combat is. But I gotta say, I disagree, because even when I did use the stun button or the kick button, which is circle, I still found that it was really hard to follow all of the enemies. And in this regard, that has a lot to do with the camera. The camera does not keep up with the action. It doesn't show you the full spectrum of what's going on around you. It's basically focused on her shoulders. It's a third-person shooter, third-person perspective, and it stays focused on one enemy at a time. So there may be an enemy behind you. You would never know that. Now, obviously, you have the voices in your head that basically tell you to look out, look behind you, or whatever. But in most cases, or in many cases, you don't really know what the proper reaction would be. You can tilt the right joystick right or left and it'll focus on different enemies. It'll select them. But here's the thing. Your enemies in this game move around so freely and so quickly that it's really, really difficult to make the camera focus onto the proper enemy so that you can judge the situation and act or react accordingly. You cannot really play or engage in the combat and play it reactionary just because of how the camera situation is set up. That's my major complaint with the game. The combat is by far one of the most, I would say, underdeveloped portions of this game. But aside from that, if you can get past that and you can press on through the combat, it's actually a really rewarding experience. You get to enjoy the story development and everything else. I don't really want to spoil it, but obviously it has to do with the, well, most people probably already know what it is at this point. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. If I had to rate this game, the game's definitely, in my opinion, it's not going to get an 8. It's not going to get a 9. I mean, for originality, yes, it's definitely up there. But the problem is the game. Oh, I also experienced a game-crippling bug when I was fighting one of the final bosses, because there are several major combat scenes in the game where you have to face off against a formidable opponent. Well, one of the final bosses is kind of like a giant bull, demon bull, or whatever you want to call it. It's like an undead bull monster. When you fight him, well, I died during that fight the first time, and then when she respawned, I basically had to start the whole game, or not the game over from the beginning, but I had to start the fight over because when she respawned, the dodge button ceased to function. It didn't work anymore. And the dodge button is the X button, so basically you tilt the left stick to the left or to the right, the front or to the back, and it'll make her leap or jump or quickly shift in that direction. Well, it didn't work. It didn't work at all after she respawned, so I had to basically reload the game. That was kind of weird. You can also alternate using the X button and the circle button. If you press the X button along with the joystick lean in any direction, she can leap in that direction. And if you quickly press an attack button, usually I think it's the light attack button, which is square. If you do that, then she can actually do a lunge attack, and she can do like different sweeps and things like that, which is kind of good if you want to do like I guess you could call it a parry, but it's really not, because if the enemy's in the middle of an attack, it will not cancel out your enemy's attack, and in most cases, if you attempt to use that, it's going to result in you taking damage anyway. So I wouldn't really recommend getting too crazy with it or trying to use it too much in the combat situations that you'll deal with in this game. But other than that, that's it. I would say that this game deserves a very solid 7 out of 10. It's definitely above average. Definitely not like Game of the Year material because of the issues that I just mentioned, but it's definitely worth a look. For a sub 50, or it's right at $40. If I'm not mistaken, it's like a $39 game right now. brand new. So, and it's digital only, so it's not like you're gonna go to GameStop or any place, buy the game, beat it in a week, and then take it back. You know, with that understanding out of the way, though, like I said, it is digital only. It's only $40. It's definitely worth a shot. It's if you like psychological horror / combat games that have a lot of heavy emphasis on puzzle gameplay, I think this is definitely right up your alley. What would I compare this game to? There aren't a lot of games like this, and like I said, that's really where this game shines. It's really unique and it's really original. It doesn't feel like any other game that I've ever played. The closest game that this game could be compared to would be something like Rise Son of Rome, but that's just because of they're weird enemies in Rise Son of Rome that remind me, or that are similar to the enemies in this game. They're kind of demonic figures and whatnot, but not many. It's few and far between, but you know. In any case, that's basically all I've got to say about the game. It's pretty good. The story, you'll have to go and look that up yourself. I'm basically just giving you a basic idea of what the gameplay is like. The story, again, to give you a basic idea here, it follows a female warrior who is suffering from psychosis, who is looking for her husband who is tragically lost. She ends up, you know, it's a huge psychological mind trip, and it's really, really crazy. So if you're into crazy shit like that, you'll definitely like this game, at least to, you know, have the experience there. But that's it. 7 out of 10. Definitely doesn't need more than that. Definitely shouldn't receive a more punishing score than that. I would say give it a shot. It's pretty badass game. Hopefully they get a larger following, and perhaps we can see maybe a sequel to this. You know, hell, maybe a big publisher will throw some real money and resources behind it. We can see a full-fledged version of this game in the future. You never know, but I don't know. I think it's kind of, even though it's only been out for a month or two now, I don't know if it would actually get a formal sequel or a lot of support after this. And the main reason why is because of the gaming media, and a few people got up there and said, well, here's where they went wrong, and they immediately harped on the negatives, whereas they could have focused on some of the positives involving this game, and it would have probably been received in a more positive light. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay footage that you saw. That's it for this one. I think the next game I'll probably be playing is, of course, Crash Insane Trilogy. The second game, it'll be Crash 2. Oh, God. So, anyway, see you guys later.